r/askreddit. Men of Reddit, when was the last time you've cried and why? I had to put my cat down yesterday. That sucked. My marriage was on the verge of collapse when my ex-wife got a job offer in another state. She had been unemployed for some time, so she had to take the job. We decided I should stay behind since I had a steady job and divorce was inevitable. My wife moved out and the kids stayed with me until she got a home in her new city. Taking my kids to the airport and putting them on a plane to move away from me was soul crushing. I held it together until they boarded. Once they got on the plane, I lost my hit. My kids only lasted a few months with mom before packing up and moving back to live with me. Sunday. Wife has sudden onset of insomnia and anxiety since Christmas, which has started to trigger panic attacks. She had one while I was at work and called me. When I was free to call back, my son answered the phone. I was sobbing listening to my 6-year-old talk her through the breathing exercises we had practiced. That kid gets ice cream for life, no questions asked. And I might go cry again. Your kid is amazing. You guys will get through this. I'm not sure if this is an option for you, but a dog that is trained to help recognize when she's having difficulty and take appropriate steps to calm her might be worth looking into. If a trained dog isn't an option, but a regular dog is, perhaps consider visiting a local shelter to see if there is a pup who would be a good fit for your family. Dogs are really good at picking up on human emotion and are comforting and grounding. They can really help to disrupt thoughts that are spiraling out of control. Could be a good fuzzy friend to help your wife as well as your son when times are tough. My ex-fiance left me after I spent 9 days in the hospital battling dual pneumonia and almost dying. Other comments. Some people use anger at an ex for doing a bad thing like that to propel themselves forward, and if you can get angry, do that for yourself when you're ready. But if right now all you can think about is how they are not a bad person, even though they did that shitty thing, and how you miss them, it's okay to feel that too. I think post-breakup feelings are often more complicated than they suck. Duck them, dodged a bullet, and sometimes you gotta feel all of it, the anger but also the love, to get through. Sorry that happened, and hang in there. I was tucking in my 7-year-old daughter a couple of months ago, and she told me that she was worried about me dying before her. I'm only 42 and healthy. So I had a conversation about how old I'm likely to live, and that she will be an adult when I die. Then she said, but when you do die, will you help me? Because I need you so much. And I lost it. I was 5 or 6 when I had my first existential crisis. I was taking a shower and realized everyone I loved would die at some point. I'm just grateful I've been able to spend as much time as I have with my parents and grandparents and stuff. Months ago, when my best friend was found dead in his car after a week-long search for him, turned out he killed himself. I lost a friend last year. I really do understand it's a pain like no other. Every time I consider suicide I cry thinking about him and remember the pain it caused for all of my friends. I've teared up a few times, but last time I legitimately cried was in 2010 when we put my childhood dog down. I was a senior in high school. We had him since I was in 1st grade, 1998. He was my first and only childhood dog, a Siberian Husky, and I feel like we grew up in that house together. He had some cancerous tumor in his stomach that was spreading rather quick, and the attempt at removing didn't go so well as they couldn't get it all. We decided as a family to let him go peacefully so he didn't have to suffer, as they promised us it would continue to grow and possibly cause him severe pain in the near future. I'll never forget holding him in my arms in that room as the vet asked me if I was ready for the moment. When she injected him, I felt his entire body sink into my arms. He was lifeless in an instant. I was so happy he went peacefully without pain. My best friend growing up. I've never expressed my emotions from that moment to anyone besides my parents and my current girlfriend. Whenever I think back to that moment I get teary-eyed, but I'm happy I was there for him in his final moments. I wouldn't change a thing if I could go back in time. Please try and be there for your pet if you ever have to make such a decision. Woke up at 4 AM after dreaming my dad told me he has days to live, then realized he is actually dead. I have those dreams about my nan and my granddad. They suck so bad. The realization when you wake is just such a gut punch. A few weeks ago, when one of my best friends told me he's going to be a dad, I can go for months and months without shedding a single tear, but these news got me really emotional, in the best sense of the word. This has been an eye-opening experience for me, as I had no idea I was capable of feeling such things. Month ago, was yelling at my kids because they were misbehaving, and I put them to bed early. Broke down afterwards and cried on the stairs. Knew I didn't have to yell as much and said some unnecessary things. Wife talked with me on the stairs and it turned into a turning point in my life, and I'm doing much better with the discipline. Edit. Holy hit, haven't checked since I got off work and this blew up. Never hit my kids and never will. Immediately after the talk with the wife I went and apologized. This is so right. One of my most vivid childhood memories is of my dad apologizing to me for having yelled at me unfairly the day before. He explained he was feeling sick and reacted badly. It will show your children you respect them, and they will respect you more. I remember having this conversation with my dad. It really changed the way I viewed him as a person. Then I had the conversation again. Then it happened a third time. Again. And again. He did it to my brother, my mom. Apologizing doesn't fix anything if it doesn't come with a side helping of changed behavior. The only thing my father's apologies taught me is not to accept apologies until the person has demonstrated they actually understand what they did was wrong and works on not letting it happen again. While I held my 4-year-old daughter in my arms and realized there was nothing that I could do to save her from dying from mitochondrial disease, I don't think I had ever cried so hard before or since. 7 years later it still haunts me, but time does make it less painful. Took a small getaway trip, about 8-hour drive few weeks back due to stress. I played all of the songs I shouldn't play on the drive up and let myself unwind in the car and get all of that stuff out. Job stress, feelings toward my ex, the whole gamut. Did me well. Edit. GAMUT*. Edit. To everyone ming me, thank you for your stories. Life can be hard. Make time to find the gentle solitude you need. We'll all make it through this in time. Slowly, but surely. My daughter was born the start of last year. Think I must have cried for a solid hour. Get ready, man. I teared up last year when my son was born. Not a full-on cry, but unexpected emotions. Last night I was feeding my now 10-month-old, and he was in turn feeding my old Doberman, and it just hit me like a wave. Everything was perfect in that moment. My wife started crying because she had never seen me cry. Then my kid started laughing hysterically, and my dog barked so loud that he forced a fart out. A perfect moment. About 5 minutes ago, one of my nephews is currently in surgery for something his doctors have never seen in a kid his age before. I just got news from my sister that best case scenario has happened, and they were able to take care of things. He should be out of the or in half the time as was expected. So, yeah. Crying in relief at my desk at work. Going up to see him in a couple days. It's hard to explain what it means to have kids like him in your life. Edit. I just found out that he is out of surgery and everything was successful. Huge weight off my mind. Last week at our first ultrasound, wife and I have had 2 miscarriages, and we had an appointment and saw the heartbeat. This little peanut has stuck around the longest so far. Fingers crossed. May the pregnancy be smooth, healthy, and uneventful. I'm more emotional than your standard guy. I'll tear up fairly frequently, even at movies and the like. Usually with things involving loss of parents. Last time I would say I actually cried was when I decided it was time to go to a therapist, and in the initial meeting was just offloading all the reasons I decided to come and why I thought I might have a touch of depression. I'm doing much better now. Last time I straight out ugly cried/sobbed was when they put my mother's casket into the vault at the mausoleum, almost 5 years ago now, while hugging the hell out of my brother. It was over the weekend. I was reaching out to a few different friends to see what they're up to, but everyone else had pre-existing plans. It hit me hard when I realized that I'm always making an effort to reach out, but I don't get the same in return. I do a lot of the work, and when I try to make plans, there's always something that comes up, or they're too busy. I'm right there with you, man. Me and my friends have a group chat that we rarely use ever, since one of the main guys in the friend group, the one that bring us all together, went off to the Marines, and now I get Snapchats of my friends all hanging out, and I have to text about 5 of them individually before I get a response and an invitation. Makes me feel unwanted. I also have been living alone since I was 18. 21 now, and don't really have anyone to talk to most days, so my mind likes to wander around bedtime and just makes me think of all this stuff until I practically cry myself to sleep. I have since stopped bothering to reach out to hang out with them, and am now left alone pretty much every weekend. Edit. Thank you for all of the kind responses. I will respond to the comments I have received so far by providing more information here. I play on a rugby team and have for the past few years. However, the season is only spring and fall, and most of them are a few years older than me. While we do meet up for events every so often, most of the time we just have our own lives at the end of the day. I stopped playing video games. I've had a full-time job for 3 years and played Counter-Strike pretty competitively on a league team and everything, but eventually it just began affecting my career and I was more miserable playing than I'm not. I recently stopped playing in January, right before the next season. I do watch a lot of movies and television now that I don't play video games much, but I'm not really the type of person that likes sitting inside. I go to the gym 6 days a week and try to get out while I can, but I live in New York, where it's pretty cold for outside activities alone. I don't live close enough to New York City to travel there affordably as often as I'd like. It's about $100 in Uber fare by 12 AM. I do have coworkers and whatnot that invite me out pretty often, and I try my best to go, but it's difficult because of what I had said above. It's too expensive to get home after a night of drinking, lol. I would like to reiterate that I don't cry myself to sleep every night. It seems to be related to how my day was that makes my mind wander. Usually when one bad thing happens to me, ducking something up at work, or seeing my friends hanging without me, is when everything kind of spirals downhill and my mind starts to wander. I never resort to drugs or alcohol for my problems. I usually just try to sleep it off and wait for the next positive thing to happen in my life and make the most of it. That's it, folks. You made it to the end. I hope you enjoyed the video.